Duh. Thank you to everyone watching this call back. This is our October Focus Fit call. I'm really excited about this one. I've just been explaining to Christy and Ben that we're going to go through a little bit of an activity around the space technique. And this is one that has been really helping me going into spring, particularly coming out of winter, where we tend to unconsciously hibernate. We move into this warmer, more productive window of time, and we notice that we've developed a little bit of clutter internally. So what we're going to do is just see the clutter, order the clutter, and figure out what we need and what we don't need going forth. And we can think of it as a bit of internal spring cleaning. So what I'm going to take you through is, again, the space technique. And the space technique is like any of the other techniques I teach in these early stages. I'm going to give you a statement, and the statement uses two different words. And before we launch into it and we practice the technique, I want to really unpack this statement because the statement becomes the traction target. So the two key words are that and this. And every time I say the word that, I want you to imagine that we are literally kind of putting our hands up and saying that, as in that out there. And this is two hands over the chest, middle of the chest, this. So we have this and we have that. And you're going to start to see how all the learning we go through in the Focus Fit Club connects just with these two words. So that becomes anything that exists from basically the ego. It is distress, distortion, and shadow. So, uh, grabbing something to write with, we're going to just do a line down the middle of the page. On the left-hand side up the top, the title of that column in capital letters is going to be that. And then underneath that heading, you can put a little subheading, distress, distortion, shadow, just so you can remember what it is. In a week, 2 weeks' time, we might forget which one was which. So again, that is the doubt. That is the beliefs that fuel our lack, our fear, our anxiety, our overwhelm. It's where distraction tends to take place. So distress, distortion, shadow. And then on the right-hand column, we have this up the top, capital letters. That's the title of our right-hand column. And then again, that subheading is what remains without the shadow. So what we're really imagining here is that is in the shadow, and this is the light. What we're doing is separating the two. We're creating space. We're talking about the space technique, but creating space between this and that. Consistent focus work brings about meditation where we are able to observe with clarity. When we're observing with clarity, we're not tangled up anymore in this belief that we are that. We're not that. We're this. And that will lead us to the technique a little bit later on. So, to get this rocking and rolling, round one, we're going to talk about the emotional tone. So, the emotional tone of that and the emotional tone of this. And by emotional tone, I mean how it feels. For those of you who've done the one-on-one work with me, we we want to focus on the feeling in the body. The feeling is what holds the frequency. We can have as many positive statements as we want, repeating and repeating over and over in the head. It's the feeling that holds the frequency behind any thought, behind any action. It's the feeling that we can start to tune into that then either dissolves or brings up this power. So we're going to just focus on the emotional tone of that. So, how that feels, and the emotional tone of this, how this feels. So, that feels like tension. It feels like doubt. It feels like comparison. It feels like proving. It feels like I need to please. It feels like I need to control. It feels like I need to grip really tightly onto something. And this is the opposite. This feels like ease, feels like steadiness, trust. There's a quiet confidence. There is a flow. that is ex extremely powerful. It is the most powerful. And I don't need to do anything in order for that flow to occur. It's already happening. I just need to come back to this. Consistent focus work shows us this. We start to get into these flow states because we are naturally separating ourselves from that and back to this. So all we're doing is categorizing the two. Again, just kind of spring cleaning, making sure that there's no last little threads that we've got tangled up. So the question here to help us start categorizing, when you think about your current work or relationships, what belongs to that and what belongs to this? So in terms of work, for me, we have a retreat coming up this weekend. Christy's going to be at it, which we're so excited about. And in terms of again that being tension, doubt, comparison, proving, needing to please, we are thinking about how those emotions, those feelings can come up in our work and relationships. So the work, uh, in terms of this retreat that I've got coming up, it's the back end work. It's the IT back end work. That's where the tension starts to rise. That's when the doubt starts to creep in because I feel like I need to double check everything. I feel like I need to test everything because I don't feel confident with that side of things. I still like doing it and I'll do it, but this is where the tension and that doubt specifically start to creep in. And then in terms of the this, what's the opposite of that? The this is actually being at the retreat and being with the people that are coming. That is when that ease and that steadiness and the trust just starts to flow. And then in terms of relationships, in terms of being a dad, I've noticed the tension start to rise when my daughter and the son daughter and my son are just arguing about like really small things about getting in the car or like doing their teeth together. I notice that's causing a lot of tension for me because in my mind they're not big deals. Can we do it without drama? Let's just get it done. It's a small job. Let's move on. That's raising the tension. And this is the steadiness. Okay, I know we're tired. There's no tension here. I'm just watching their little drama, their little play unfold, and knowing full well, trusting full well that it'll all play out and that they'll be best mates again after it's done. So that and this. They're my examples. And it's again, we're starting with the emotional tone. We're just starting with how they feel. How does that feel? How does this feel? That is tension. That is friction. That is out there. That is not me. This is ease. It's reverence. It's awe. It's inspiring. It's motivating. All these things that literally don't exist with the ego in that survival mode. And has joined us. And no need to comment or dive in yet. You've come in right at the start. So all we're doing is a column down the middle of the page. We've got that on the left-hand side. We've got this on the right-hand side. And we're just answering these questions and we're filling in both sides of the column. So that is on the left. This is on the right. Literally that and this. And we're just answering these questions as we go. And then we're going to have a real quick focus work session at the end. Any questions or anything you'd like to share there, Ben or Christy? Anything that's you've added to the columns, or any questions? Anything you want to just clarify?
Yeah, I guess when you were talking about the retreat and the tension comes and the doubt creeps in from, wanting to get it all right and everything. And then when you went to this, you went straight to being in the ease of the retreat and just being there and in the flow. Whereas when you talked about the relationship, and you said, the kids' petty little arguments and the drama that you got, sort of you get frustrated by, I guess, because you can see it's not a drama. But then when you went to this, you were like, you were still in their drama and just letting it pass. So
Mm,
the difference I'm trying to say is, with the retreat, it was like you were straight into the ease and the peace and the flow of it. Whereas with
hmm
the relationship, you kind of had to sit with it and, like with the distraction, observe it and watch it unfold, knowing it would get to peace, but you
mm,
kind of started in it.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I really do. Uh, so the piece is already here with me.
Mm.
I am watching that out there, and I am watching that drama or, that friction between two other people that I can't control. I can support and I can be there and I can bring peace to that, but I can't control it. Uh, that's the fundamental difference, and it's the same. And so it's the same with the work. Again, I can observe the back end IT stuff that I need to do, and I can bring the friction and I can bring the tension and I can bring the drama to that, or I can bring the peace and remember that once we're here in that day, man, it's going to be amazing. It doesn't matter if these emails
Yeah.
don't work. It doesn't matter if they go to the junk mail. The day is going to be amazing, and I can bring that peace that I can see in the future. I have it here right now already. I don't need to wait for the retreat. I can bring it to this back end IT. I don't need to
Mhm.
wait for my kids to resolve their own issue and then enjoy the peace. I can enjoy that now because it's already here with me. Because I
Mhm.
have this here. This never leaves. This is always here.
Mm.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
absolutely. Yeah, I just listened, I just heard it in a bit of a different way initially, but I definitely understand what you're saying.
No,
Mm.
that is an awesome clarifier. I love it. All right, so this is again just setting that emotional ground, that emotional tone. So then rolling into round two, where really getting into this idea of the identity and the shadow. Remembering this is just a quick focus fit call. We're just really uh we want these calls to be, really efficient, bang for buck, and we want to get a few little penny drops if possible. And tonight is really about this idea of spring cleaning, categorizing what's going on, what is that, what is this, so we can roll in to this busy end of the year with these things in place. So, in terms of that, so the left hand column, that this is the prostitute shadow, the saboteur shadow. So, the prostitute shadow will sacrifice value in order to get something back. The prostitute will sacrifice something it values in order to get something back from someone else. And that's how it creates its self worth. The saboteur will sabotage progress so it keeps cycling through. So it keeps having to work hard. So it can keep wearing the badge of honor in terms of grinding and in terms of always having something to complain about. The saboteur will sabotage success so it can keep complaining about not having success. So these are the two key ones here that we see come up in terms of that out there. What they'll say is, I'm not enough. I'll lose love if I say no to this. I can't trust myself. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough time to do this right. I won't get started because I need everything to be perfect before I get started. These are the statements that that these shadows out there in that will use. They are anything that contradict the love that is here right now. Because in this is your deeper knowing, capable, calm, creative, ever flowing, always here, never lacking, always abundant, here all the time. This never leaves. That is fleeting. That comes and goes. That is outside of our control. This is here all the time. So, here in the left hand column, in that, Just spend a little bit of time, a few moments, thinking about what are the statements I often hear in that noise, in that ego, in that doubt, in that prostitute, in that saboteur shadow. I'm not enough. I'll lose love if I say no. I can't trust myself. What are the statements that you are hearing that do bring you doubt? Ben, we're talking about rushing. I need a rush to get this finished. That is
Mm,
coming from that. That's a belief that comes from that. It's a belief that doesn't exist in this. This doesn't agree with that belief. So if it's not in this, then it has to be in that. um, I love the idea of rushing. My example with the statement that I put in the left hand column in that is I don't know enough. That was one that was coming up so much, particularly last year and leading into the start of this year. I don't know enough. So that meant that I was consuming knowledge not to grow, not to water myself and nurture myself, so I could serve and nurture others, but it was to feed this doubt, to feed this belief that I didn't know enough, which really is the belief that I'm not good enough.
yeah,
I'm not good enough because I don't know enough. So I got to find out more. And once I saw that clearly, I realized, well, I could keep consuming for the rest of my life and still believe that. Once you see the belief clearly, you realize it's not this, it's that out there. So then the
yeah,
this in the right hand column, in that example, in my example, becomes I'm here. I know what I know. I know what I know right now. And that's all I need right now. I can't project into the future or pull something out of the past that doesn't belong here. I know what I know right now. And if I can come back to this, then I'm going to be everything I need to be right now in this moment. So, what do those shadow voices say most often? That's going in your that column in the left hand column. In the right hand column, who are you when you don't believe them? Who are you when you don't believe them? So again, my example was uh, I don't know enough. And who am I when I don't believe that? I am someone who knows what they know in the right moment, in the right way. I trust that I'm going to know. And that doesn't sound logical. The ego, that relies on logic. This is abstract. It's built on trust. It's built on faith. It's built on experiencing the light and the love that exists here. And again, that's where consistent focus work leads us. Again, any questions before we move on to the next one?
Right.
Amazing. Anything you'd like to share?
yeah. I think just when you said that, I'd just written I should know this, and that
Mm,
was one of the things that comes up a lot. That I think to myself, I should know this, but I don't.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
Mm,
guess the opposite to that would be I know enough to be here. It's
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And all we're doing is categorizing just that statement as that.
yeah.
Because if it's that, I'm not that. We're going to get
Mm,
to this. We're going to get to that in a moment. But that's out there. So you've noticed that belief, you've noticed that thought. That's going to stay there. It's going to keep whirling around. The ego is going to keep doing what it's doing, but it doesn't mean that we have to attach ourselves to it. We can notice it, observe it. A fit focus will observe it, and remember that this is where we're coming back to. So that leads us. I love that. Thanks, Ben, because that's such a great
Yeah.
segue.
Awesome. Mm.
Perfect segue into this last one. So the ego needs. That is all ego. Again, the ego isn't nasty. It's not malevolent. It's not evil. The ego is a survival mechanism that is here to keep the physical body that we exist in safe. The ego is never going anywhere. And we don't want it to go anywhere because we need to draw on it when we're in danger or in physical danger. But we don't need it unless we're in physical danger. So that needs to look good, be right, be safe, be certain. These are all the needs of the ego. And they are that. They're that out there. The need to look good. That reflects back on our example, Ben, about not knowing enough. I don't know enough, so I'm not going to look good. I'm not going to look professional. That's a need of the ego to look good, not just in what we wear, but how we come across professionally, how we come across in different sectors of our lives. The need to be right, the need to be safe, the need to be certain. This is presence. It's curiosity. It's compassion. It's clarity. It's confidence in this space right now without needing anything else. So, what ego need drives you the most out of the ones that we have here? The need to look good, the need to be right, the need to be safe, the need to be certain. And then what's here when that need eases? When that need is not where our focus is flowing. So, this is the last one. Just give you a few moments with that. For me, again, it's the need to look good. That's the one I've been really working through, especially on the back end of this year. You know, working in my own business, working with different clients, you can get really distracted by this need because you can believe that it's actually affecting your business in a positive way. But it distracts you from the presence that's required to help people in the best way possible. If I'm consistently focused on looking good, then I'm doubting what I'm going to say next, or I'm overthinking what I'm saying next. And that presence is lost. This is where the presence is. This is where the transformation is. Is where this is what bleeds into the professionalism. If I start here, then everything else in that is going to be affected by this. What we do in our culture is we focus on that and then wonder why we don't feel this. So, what ego need drives you most? And what's here when that need relaxes? Amazing. Anything anyone wants to share there out of either column?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the being right and being safe
Mm-hmm.
is two things that I see as I know they appear to be important, and that whole being safe and not stepping out of a comfort zone and the flip side of that, I guess, is the curiosity thing, the being present, being curious, being interested, being finding a way to let go of that being right and being safe and
Mm,
yeah,
beautiful. And then that starts leaking into the relationship as well, doesn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Mm,
certainly does.
mm,
And
beautiful.
mine was going to be the same. Mine's also that kind of being safe. But then when that's happening, I'm completely at peace because I know I'm connected and everything's sort of,
Mm, mm,
spiritual sort of thing. So
mm,
yeah, I'm grounded, I'm at peace, I
mm-hmm,
feel the expansion.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, so it's a completely different feeling. I'm safe within
mm-hmm,
and I'm not so focused on worried about being safe in the external world. It's more like safe in
Mm,
here.
mm,
Mm.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And the safety here then starts permeating out into that external world.
Yeah.
You
mm,
start creating the safety for yourself,
Mm.
bringing the safety to wherever you are.
Yeah, from within.
Love that.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. I love it. All right, let's quickly, because we are on 8:40 time, let's just get into our focus work position. So I'm just going to guide you through now that we've really categorized that and this. We've gone to the extent of actually getting it down on paper. We can see, well, sorry, we can feel the difference now. We understand the difference between the shadow of that and the light of this. And we understand now that the ego is that, and everything that's not the ego is this. So there were the 3 rounds that we've just gone through. That is very different to this, and this is here in the center of the chest. This is the throne where the light, where this sits. So when we say the word this, we are feeling it in the chest. And when we say the word that, we are imagining that we're pointing out, like I have been, pointing out, palms up, pointing out around up there, around out there in the external world. That in the internal world is all those thoughts, all those doubts, all those phrases that we've just highlighted from the prostitute or the saboteur shadow. This and that. So the traction target, I'll introduce in a moment for the space technique. But all we've done is really unpack the traction target. So it'll hit hard when we use it and we can get bang for buck with it. We can use it really efficiently. But before we do that, let's close our eyes if we haven't already. Remembering we always are sitting straight, head and neck free from leaning because we're doing this for our performance. We're doing this for our eyes open states. This is a performance enhancer. Focus work is exercising the focus. And let's just inhale, extend the inhale, exhaling with a bit of a sigh, drawing that exhale out, inhaling again when you feel comfortable to. And this time arching the spine and opening that chest as you inhale. And then exhaling and letting it all fall back into place. On the inhale, arching the spine, opening the chest out. And on the exhale, letting it all settle and extending the last few moments of that exhale. One more round of that in your own time. As you now just loosen the edges of the eyes, loosen the tongue by placing it in its hammock, tip of the tongue along the gum line above the top 2 middle teeth, and then loosen the jaw. And now shining the light of your focus onto the center of the chest. And now shining the light of your focus up onto the thoughts that are happening in the brain, in that busy mechanical activity. Shining the light of your focus onto that busy mechanical activity of the ego in the brain. And now thinking our traction target, which is, I am not that, I am this. And when we say that word this, we come back to the center of the chest. We consolidate everything on the right-hand side of the column. I am this. We say it with confidence, with clarity, because here sits the feeling of this. And we, as always, just repeat that traction target. I am not that, I am this. I am not that, I am this. And as always, we will get distracted. The distractions are the first half of the rep. And the space technique is so beautiful because once we realize the distraction, we have this sweet relief of coming back to this. I am not that. Whatever it is that's distracted me, the distraction itself. I am not that. I am this. Repeating attraction target. I am not that. I am this. Every time you do, you are creating space between that and this. And in that space lies your power, your ability to choose what you are going to focus on. That or this. You need space in order to make that choice. Repeating that traction target again now, feeling the center of the chest as you say that final word, this, in the traction target. I am not that, I am this. Repeating your traction target, finishing off the reps as you need to. I'll leave you for just a few moments to practice that back and forth and feeling this in the chest. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Part of your focus is flowing. And one final time. I am not that. I am this. If you can say it out loud, say it with confidence, with knowing.
I'm not that. I am this. I am not that. I am this.
This is always here. This never leaves. That is always working, grinding, hustling, whirring, trying, seeking, becoming. This never leaves. This is always this. Inhaling one final time now for the warm down into this, into the center of the chest, the throne of your power, the seat of who you are. This, and exhale that. Spring cleaning. We're inhaling into this and exhaling any that is still clinging on. Inhaling into this and exhaling the that. Rolling the shoulders, rolling the neck. Gently coming on out when you're ready. Always gently opening those eyes. And as we're settling, as we're coming back, this is our takeaway. The shift from that to this isn't about fixing. If I've noticed that I've been focused and distracted and tangled up in that, there's nothing to fix. The shift from that to this isn't about fixing, it's about focus. You don't have to fight the old pattern. You don't have to force anything because force is that. Force exists in that world, in that space. Here, in this, there's no force. It's ease. You don't have to fight anything. You don't have to force change. You don't have to force fixing. You don't have to force becoming better. There's nothing to fix. You don't have to fight the old pattern. We just remember, I am not that, I am this. And from that simple reminder, you will start to remember more often. And that is how we develop this reverence and this ease for this. And that brings us to the end of our Focus Fit call, our spring cleaning for October. Thank you, everyone. I'll end the recording now, and if you guys would like to hang around, ask any questions, go for it. And anyone watching back on the recording, please ask your questions or leave any insights or comments in the Focus Fit Club. Thank you so much. Well.